Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook News. Have you ever witnessed a single moment that lasts only a few seconds? No dialogue, no explanation, no dramatization. Yet is strong enough to make you pause and quietly ask yourself, wait, what did I just see? Moments like these don't shout for attention. They don't force understanding. And yet, precisely because of their silence, they linger longer in the mind. Are you sure? There's a scene in Switzerland, quiet, gentle, almost imperceptible. That feels like a scream without sound. Not because it's staged, not because it wants to look special, but because it's too natural, too honest, too specific to be mere coincidence. The touch that appears is not a playful one. The response that follows is not awkward. And the brief pause that emerges seems to convey a very clear message. This isn't for the camera. Today, we won't shout for answers. We won't force definitions. We will simply observe. Because sometimes, body language speaks more truth than any words ever could. Remember the Jimin and Jungkook moment in Are You Sure? That felt like it was screaming without subtitles, without explanation, without shame. So much so that many spontaneously thought, this looks like a kissing scene. Some moments don't need deep analysis to make us stop and realize that something real just happened. And this is one of them. Are you sure? Is filled with moments so natural, so honest, and so full of intimacy that it feels strange how everyone seems to let them pass unnoticed. Everyone sees it. Everyone processes it silently. Then life goes on as if nothing happened. But it really did happen, and its impact is felt. Episode 1 of Season 2. Switzerland. Serene views. A journey so peaceful it lowers one's defenses. Jimin and Jungkook explore their accommodation, chatting lightly, laughing softly. Everything flows effortlessly until, without warning, the moment arrives. Jimin, always honest through body language, raises both hands and gently cups Jungkook's face. Slowly, tenderly, unhurried, not joking. 2 hands, full of care. A gesture not improvised, but remembered by the body. A way of holding someone's face that is incredibly specific. The gesture before a kiss. Look at me. You are here with me. There's no way to call this casual. And this is where everything locks in. Jungkook's reaction. If the moment felt inappropriate or uncomfortable, the natural response would be to pull back, laugh nervously, or brush the touch away. But Jungkook does none of these. He stays still, calm, fully present. His posture is open, not merely accepting, but welcoming. A detail often overlooked yet crucial. Jungkook raises his own hands, not to reject, not to stop, but as a gentle reflex, as if he too is about to touch the face in front of him. A movement of the body, not of thought. No tension, only synchronization. When observed without prejudice, it's clear Jungkook isn't halting the gesture. He's responding to it, as if the touch is something familiar off camera, and for a moment it escapes in front of the lens. They seem to forget they are being recorded. The outside world disappears. All that remains is the two of them in a silent, intimate bubble until Jimin notices first the camera, and he lowers his hands. Not Jungkook, as if to say, not here, not now. Jungkook follows the cue almost simultaneously. Coordination like this doesn't happen by chance. Yet even after that, Jimin doesn't completely break contact. His hand brushes across Jungkook's chest, slowly, intentionally. Not awkward, not accidental, as if he still needs one more second to stay connected. That movement says, I stopped because of the camera, not because I wanted to. This is the kind of intimacy born only from deep physical and emotional trust. Body language doesn't lie. This sequence, initial gesture, response, near reply, conscious pause, final touch, is pure naturalness, habit, connection. It feels disingenuous when all of this is reduced to fandom exaggeration. This isn't a performance, not a plan. It's a real moment that slipped through control, a moment where the closeness is so natural that they themselves must correct it. Such closeness doesn't appear suddenly. It is built over time, through years of growing together, through experiences that cannot be faked. Even during mandatory military service, when many choose separate paths, they chose to enlist together in the same unit. A conscious decision to remain side by side. This isn't dependency, it's connection. Feeling stronger when the other is present. Being understood without explanation. And now that closeness feels calmer, gentler, more mature, full of trust. They are transparent without intention. Sincere even when trying to hide it. And that is what makes every small gesture feel meaningful. That small moment in Switzerland, silent yet eloquent, speaks far more than any dialogue ever could. When we briefly turn to Jungkook's latest interview with CKX Rolling Stone, the thread becomes even clearer. Jungkook speaks in a way he rarely does. Calmly, honestly, without image protection. He is just an artist, standing as he is. He talks about the stage, our familiar view of his world. He doesn't deny that nerves always exist, even after years. But instead of fighting them, he chooses to enjoy the moment. Small mistakes aren't punishable. His focus isn't perfection, but essence. He admits he isn't the type to manage everything at once. For him, the core always comes back to two things: singing and dancing. The rest is supplementary. Even if his face doesn't look perfect while singing, he accepts it, because that's the real him. When asked about inspiration, Jungkook pauses. Honest silence. He calls himself realistic. Inspiration, for him, isn't abstract, it's about where attention is directed. And the answer is clear. Army always comes first, followed by those closest to him, the people around him, the atmosphere he feels. When he quotes, "To avoid going crazy, you have to go crazy from on," then connects it to standing next to you, a consistent emotional thread emerges. To endure, to walk, and to choose to stand by someone. For many fans, especially from a Jikook perspective, these details are hard to ignore. The same phrase appears in Jimin's song Set Me Free PT2, not as proof, but as a marker that their emotional and artistic worlds often intersect, as if on the same frequency. Then there are memories of Sapporo, cold air, curry soup, draft beer. The way Jungkook recounts it feels warm and personal. Not about schedules or concerts, but about the small things that mean the most when shared in a special way. Was it a trip we saw, or another journey never documented? Uncertain. All that exists is how he remembers it, with warmth that is hard to dismiss as coincidence. If you feel the same, if these small details speak to you too, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I want to know which part made you pause the most. See you in the next Jikook news. Because sometimes the truest stories are spoken in silence.